morning, guys. This is Victor Vasquez with National Title. Welcome to another segment of our show. We have my friend here, Phil Bouchard, as always. How you doing, Phil?
I'm good, Vic. How you doing this morning?
Oh, pretty good,
Good
my
to
friend.
see you. Good to be here with you all this morning.
So tell us, what are we going to talk about today?
We're going to talk about deeds and deeds of trust. Doesn't that sound really exciting?
Oh, yeah.
What I found, though, believe it or not, is that a lot of people aren't familiar with the basic documents that we use in closing and escrow. So I thought maybe we'll take a few minutes, talk about that, and help our friends and clients learn a little bit more about title documents.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, we have grant deeds, warranty deeds, deeds of trust, so we want to tell...
Perfect. Let's start off. Why don't you explain, Victor, to our friends what a deed does?
Well, the deed does, it transfers ownership. Once the property records, that deed transfers ownership to the new buyer. Now, there's different types of deeds, like I was just saying. Same thing in different states. There's different types of deeds.
Right.
But for title and escrow, they all work for the same purpose, to transfer the ownership of
as long
the
as,
property.
I guess, as long as title insurance accompanies that deed, a quitclaim deed, a warranty deed, a grant and bargain and sale deed, they're all effective in
Absolutely.
conveying title. And with the insurance accompanying that deed, then the purchaser is protected.
Absolutely. Now, my turn to ask you a question.
Oh, geez, okay.
So we answered the grant deed or deed.
Uh-huh.
Now, what about the deed of trust?
Yeah. Deed of trust is actually a security document as opposed to a document that conveys title. When one borrows money, they sign two documents. Well, they sign a lot of loan documents, but two that are very important. One is the promissory note.
Okay.
You kind of think about when you were a kid on the playground and maybe your buddy lent you a quarter, and what did you have to fill out? A little IOU. It says,
Yeah.
I owe you 25 cents, Billy, or whatever, right? Well, that's same thing with real estate. You sign a promissory note to the lender promising to pay back that loan.
Okay.
A little different than the IOU. The
Oh,
lender doesn't trust you. Right? The lender's not going to trust you with hundreds of thousands of dollars of money. So in addition to that promissory note, there's a document called a deed of trust that the borrowers sign. And what that does is that creates collateral for the promissory note. So if you have a piece of real property and you have a promissory note, the IOU, the deed of trust connects the two of them together so that if the borrower doesn't repay the promissory note, the lender has the right to foreclose.
Okay.
Okay? And it's a little confusing because that document is called a deed of trust, and that's in reference to the third party that's involved. Besides the borrower and the lender, there's a third party called the trustee in states like Nevada where we use a deed of trust instead of a mortgage. And the trustee is a third party that, in a sense, holds title to the property until that loan is paid off and the deed of trust is reconveyed.
Okay.
But it doesn't actually convey title like a deed does, the documents that you explained.
Okay.
So those are the two primary documents, the deed that conveys title and the deed of trust that creates security for the loan. The promissory note, by the way, I think it's important to mention that the promissory note with the private terms of the loan, interest rate, when the payments are supposed to be made, if there's a prepayment penalty or late penalties, that document generally does not get recorded. So the deed does, conveying the ownership interest, and then the deed of trust creating security for the lender's loan.
And now you mentioned at the beginning of the conversation having a title company record such documents because we're essentially providing the title insurance for the deed.
Actually, those are the two instruments that create the need for insurance. The deed conveying title from a seller to a buyer. We insure that deed and that buyer that they have marketable title. And then the same thing with the deed of trust. We record the deed of trust showing that the lender has made a loan on that property, and we issue an insurance policy to the lender, and that assures them that they're, amongst other things, in a first lien position, that they've lent to all of the owners of the property. Mostly lien position, I think, is what a lender's concerned with. But yes, it's those two insurance policies that we issue to the buyer and to the lender that kind of create the need for what we do in a closing.
And you know what, Phil? I think for our next segment, it will be a great topic to talk about clubs-owned title. Just because we do see a lot of people going to the recorder's office, and you know what, I'm signing over a deed over to you. Well,
Right.
if we go record it, it's okay with the county, but when it comes to title insurance, we're creating a cloud essentially. So I think that will be a great subject for us to talk about next week. What do you think?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay, guys, so if you guys have any comments, if you guys have any questions you want to ask us, again, my name is Victor Vasquez, 702-379-8807, and this is my friend Phil Bouchard.
And I'm at 702-525-4240.
Thanks a lot, guys. See you
Thank
guys
you.
next time.